And here we are. Hey, everybody. Happy New Year and welcome to the Designer Show. First one in 2025. Hey,
Yeah,
cool.
Nice.
Nice to see you
Nice.
guys. How you been?
Great.
good.
Good
Good.
holiday. Everybody had a good holiday.
Yeah, as
Good.
usual. Seems like it goes slow, but then all of a sudden it's over and it's like, what? Went too fast.
I really liked it on the Tuesday, Wednesday, 2 times because
Yeah.
it almost felt like 2 weeks, didn't it?
It did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Thursdays kind of felt like a free day for some
Right.
reason.
Like kind of just it
I
was
know.
awesome.
It was awesome. So
Yeah.
we'll take it.
It was a
All
little bit
right.
different for me.
So-
A little bit different for me. I got to wear shorts outside on
Yes,
Christmas
you
Day.
did. I
I've
saw
never
your
been
pictures
able
of
to do-
you. That's so funny.
That's
You're down
right.
in Florida, right? You were in Naples? Yeah.
We're so
I-
happy for
we're
him,
in-
right, Dan?
Yeah, it's getting
Mr.
cold for you guys, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I can see that. I'm sorry
blizzard
you guys are
coming.
getting the blizzard. You guys getting snow too? Jolene, Dan, you guys are getting
Nope.
snow?
we got a nice day. It's a little chilly, but it's a beautiful sunshiny day. So we'll
Well,
take
it's
it.
pretty typical here. It's raining. It's Portland. It's raining.
Oh, well,
get-
isn't that kind of like what's new? All right.
No, yeah, we get wet rain, and we get wet rain. We get cold rain or warm rain. It is
Oh,
wet
well.
too, just so you know.
Oh, well. Well, anyway, as we get rolling into 2025, I don't know about you, but it's always a good time to, especially with the way the things worked out this way, with like Thursdays being like free day almost. Anyway, just kind of sitting back and thinking about the new year, making some plans, kind of cleaning up last year's business. It's been kind of cool. So it's a good opportunity to let's talk a little bit about what's coming in 2025 and what some of the things we should be thinking about. I want to talk a little bit about AI and some of the ways you can use that. And I know we have Joleen on with us today, who's going to talk a little bit about marketing. So, Joleen, thanks for being here.
My pleasure. My absolute pleasure.
Always a joy to have you on the show with us. And since we work together all the time, it's been about 8 years now that you've been doing a lot of my, doing all of my marketing and everything. So it's been really a joy working with you, and I know you have a lot of great information to share. So, but I want to just start out a little bit, and then I'm going to bring you on. Okay. So I just want to pose thought process for people, get you thinking a little bit. And I want to use AI, ChatGPT, nothing special. It is a subscription model that I pay $20 a month for, worth 10 times that, if not 100 times that, because I use it so much. I'm sure you guys would agree. And let me just bring up, I got a little PowerPoint that I want to bring up. So let's just go to a full screen mode here. And let's just run through the beginning of my PowerPoint. So Jolene's going to talk a little bit about marketing trends and strategies for 2025. So we'll get to you in just a minute, Joleen. So hang tight. I guess I like to think about this. Everything we do is really always comes down to what questions should we be asking all the time? What questions can you ask yourself that will help guide how you roll into 2025? Be curious. From the old Ted Lasso show, be curious. And Joleen is with us. She is the head of Big Raven Media. And I've been working with Joleen for quite a long time now. BigRavenMedia.com if you want to check out her site. This is from your About page, Joleen. I just stole that. So you're something of a unicorn, an organized visionary. I come up with solutions and deliver on my promises. And yes, you do. So thank you very much. So I just love working with you. And then here's our Designer Show gang. Kevin is out with his daughter today. She's home visiting. I think
We're changing that picture this year, Dan. The picture of me, we're changing that this year.
Oh, come on.
That is a horrible shot.
Yeah, we'll have to get some new ones.
I'll take care of it, Robin. I'm on it. I'm on it.
Thank you, Jolene. I appreciate it.
And Renee is out of sights with us right today too. I'm sure he's just out enjoying himself. So in sunny San Francisco, or whatever it is in San Francisco. So here's our guys. And again, you can look all of us up. If you go to chiefexpertsacademy.com, you can find all of our information and get in touch with people from there. So we're all independent. We just work together. A couple of things, we're bringing this for Chief Experts. So if you go to chiefexperts.com, and at the top of the page, you'll see join our wait list for the Pro Academy. It's coming to you soon. We're just getting that geared up for releasing it later this month. So if you'd like to be informed about that, go there. And then, of course, the Total Immersion Summit coming up in March. If you'd like to go there and find out about that. So, but here's something I want to talk about. What are the top 10 questions we should be asking ourselves about marketing in the residential construction industry to gain more leads in 2025? All right, now a designer could ask this, a contractor could ask this, you guys could ask this. Anybody in any business can ask these questions. Just put what you do in that spot, okay? In that residential. And let me just bring up ChatGPT for a minute. And let's take a look at that, what it came up with. So I went into my account and pretty straightforward. I typed that in and I hit enter. Again, I'm using ChatGPT 4, good for most tasks. Yes, I am logged in. And you start getting this kind of information. What's your ideal client? What makes our service unique? How strong is your online presence? Jolene's going to talk about some of that stuff. Customer reviews, testimonials. How effective is your content marketing? Are we visible where our target audience is searching? Do you have a referral program? Are you engaging with your audience? If you think about any one of these statements, and if you wanted, so let's just say for a second that I wanted to dig into, do I have a referral program, or what am I doing on social media? Just go ask. Just type in the question down here. Let's see. Let's do this.
Copy and paste it. Show how wonderful that is.
Yeah, let's try it. Let's just copy and paste that. We'll drill down deeper into that topic. So I have to go down to the bottom of my page now. Key questions about engagement. Are we posting consistently? Is our content relevant? Are we responding? Mm-hmm. Are we leveraging video? Okay. Again, ton of stuff. Don't get discouraged by that. Just pick out something and focus on that. So everything you do, marketing is everything. Everything is marketing. So let's focus on that and do that. Then let's take a look at another question that I asked it just for the heck of it. So I went in here and I said, what's the best way to reach our target market with effective marketing that helps us build know, like, and trust? Because really, that's a big thing about what marketing is all about, is getting the people that are aware of you to know you, to like you, and most importantly, to trust you about, I'd really like to call these guys. I would like to work with them. So that's what your marketing needs to focus on. Mm-hmm. Everything that you do should focus on those three things: know, like, and trust. And again, if we go back to chat and we go find that question that I typed in, let's see, where'd it go?
Dan, the ChatGPT is something that I was always terrified to use this, but I've been using it a lot lately. And yesterday I had to write a letter of recommendation for somebody. So I wrote probably 10, maybe 8 sentences about this person. I wrote the things that I know about that person, and I had it write a letter of recommendation for me. Seriously, you guys, most of us put those things off for days, weeks. Yeah. Like we just don't want to do it. It was done in, 15 minutes. Done. Yeah. I had to go through and take a few things out, edit it, and it was done. So I swear to God, it's our friend, you guys.
I'll do a ton of my correspondence that way. I'll write it. I'll write down my thoughts, my ideas, what I want to say. I'm not being fussy about spelling. I'm just typing away what I want to say. Then I'll put that in chat and say, hey, could you clean this up for me? And boom, I'll get the results. And I'll make, like I say, you make a few changes, or you say, no, that's not very good. Do it again. Do it in my voice. That kind of a deal. It really makes a big difference. So I'm giving it the information. I'm just asking it to help me clean it up. And it saves me a ton of time. I can type as fast as I want, not worrying so much about mistakes and errors, and just it'll clean it up for me. But look, here's what it said about no, like, and trust.
It just takes one level of stress off. Using it for social media, brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
But here's what it said. What things, build, know, like, and trust. Understand your audience. Okay, that's really cool. That's important. Who are you working for? Who is your ideal client? Who's your avatar? We'll call that in the marketing world. Show expertise and credibility. Build an engaging online presence. Leverage community. Offer free value. Engage marketing. Okay, I'm not going to get into all these things, but you could see it. Just get your brain thinking about, oh yeah, that, oh this, But again, it might seem overwhelming. So then focus in on one thing. Just keep it simple. Keep it simple. Just do something. It's really the bottom line. Here's the one for you. Does the Census Bureau have statistics of those that live in my area? If you guys have not ever been to the Census Bureau and done some research here for the area that you like to work in. Now, I work all over the country. Okay. But as a contractor, I remember back in the day when I was contracting, I used to go down to the city offices and look through the permits that were getting pulled. I used to search through government records as much as I could. It was really interesting to find out what was going on in my area. So if I just go like this and we go to a new browser, there's so much information out there. It's amazing. Find tables and maps for Minnetonka. Minnesota. And it will bring up a little map of your town. There's Minnetonka. And then the information here is really cool. I mean, you could just get an idea of what's going on in your area. And you can drill down into a lot of these different areas and find out information about that, about what you want to know. I'm not going to go into this because, again, we're so limited on time. But it's really cool. You got tables and maps and charts and profiles and pages. It's really a nice website, and it's just filled with information. So, yes, they're keeping an eye on us. They know about us. I find it very fascinating. I just love doing this kind of research. It's really interesting. And it can really help your business and help you determine who you want to market to. Especially if you're out there selling projects that, you like doing room additions, you like doing porches or decks or basement remodels or that kind of thing, where you're going to focus your marketing, that kind of a deal. All right. So that's one thing you could do there. Again, drill down into that more. Well, how do I use it? Can I find out what kind of building projects they're doing? That kind of deal. Okay. Then I had it shortened. I wanted it to shorten these so I could throw it on a slide in my PowerPoints. Like, yeah, that did that. Next question I ask, can you check my website for improvements? Make it more informative and user-friendly. So again, I just asked it to do that. Maybe I'll make some changes, maybe not. Joleen and I can talk about this kind of stuff, but it's just it's another set of eyes into some of the things that you've got going on in your marketing world, your digital world. So again, not a bad way to get some information there. What sort of residential building projects have been happening in the last few years in Minnetonka? Are there any trends? So yeah, some of these things that they're talking about, it's nothing that I want to get involved in. But it did find some, there are some trends in the area that are happening. Multifamilies all over the place. Affordable housing initiatives are there. There's some luxury estates. We had one $68 million house being built on Lake Minnetonka. That's probably 25 minutes from me. It's like, what? Yeah, that's a big write-ups on that and stuff. It's like, okay. I guess, why not? Anyway, I'm going to kind of end it there. I just wanted to bring that up and just get you thinking about it, because I think it's really fascinating. Okay. Do some market research, be curious, ask questions, and, take the answers you get and drill down deeper for those particular types of questions. So if you're having trouble getting leads, ask, how could I get more leads? But do it, ask intelligent questions, or not, I don't know if intelligence is the right word or not, but give it information so it could give you better answers. I guess, as designers, we should be used to asking lots and lots of questions that get to specific areas. And that's all we're going to do with ChatGPT. So again, discover the right ways, join a wait list. We've got a lot of cool things coming up for the Pro Academy, and then again for the summit. So please check it out, and give me a call if you have any questions. What's coming up in 2.5 months. So don't be aware of. So Joleen,
Yeah.
let's go back to you.
Okay. Well, a couple of things I think are worth adding on to what Dan was saying about ChatGPT, and that is that I think that you can have a whole lot of value in your prompts that you put into AI. And I think a really great place to start, if you've not dabbled with it before, is the prompt should be, what do you know about me? Joleen Emery, owner of blah, 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 blah. And what it will, curate for you is a really good almost audit of what your digital online presence, like how it would be summarized. And I think it's a good place to just start, because when it's about us, it's definitely very interesting. It will hold our attention, and it gives you, because it's pulling, right? It's pulling from all kinds of places. So I think that's a really great prompt and a good place to start.
Yeah.
So with 2025, and I will do my present here, Dan.
Okay.
Oop. Maybe. There we go.
There you go. Perfect.
So the thing about a marketing conversation that we always seem to have at the beginning of the year is I see people's eyes gloss over a little bit, and it becomes a little bit overwhelming. And I think what Dan said in his presentation just now is that instead of thinking about how you're going to solve all of your marketing goals and challenges, let's just pick one or two things and do them well. Because one of my favorite things to say is that consistency compounds, right? Like the trick is to stick with it and not give up. But at the same time, we also need to measure what we're doing. And I have some great examples about that. So I am the CEO of these 4 businesses, and it's a very eclectic life that I lead. And I'm sitting here talking to you in my bed and breakfast. It's a retreat center. So I've got experience with a physical product. We make and design and sell yoga mats. I have experience with local lead generation because I want people to come to my retreat center. I have experience with a service-based business because I want people to, hire Big Raven Media to take care of their digital marketing. And then also I'm an artist, and I now have a craft club, and I sell, artwork, and it's evolved, right? And it's just kind of how things have unraveled for me.
You do tend to stay busy, don't you?
I do. Yeah. I'm a little busy. I'm a serial entrepreneur, as we like to say.
How's your channel, your art channel going?
Oh, it's great. It's great. In the last few years, I've turned into a craft influencer, which I really like the sound of. I like it a lot. So I've got about, I don't know, 400,000 followers across all of my platforms.
That's pretty cool.
So, but it helps me, right? There's just a ton of learning, across the landscape of my business life, and some things that I've learned. So, couple of the things that I think are really important coming up here in 2025 is that I think AI, it's here to stay, and you'll find it trickling into lots of the platforms that you might be using. Like if you are a user of Canva, Canva is increasing their prices because they have built this really powerful AI generated image, and like you can basically tell the prompt. I tested it recently. I wanted to have a circle of women sitting down doing yoga. And whiz bang boom, out came the image that I was looking for.
Oh
You
my
need to be
God.
careful though, because it was kind of funny. Their hands were actually feet. So it's got some learning to do, and it's not, foolproof by any stretch. But AI is everywhere. I was yesterday buying tickets to a Broadway show, and there was an AI prompt at the top, like, tell me what kind of experience you'd like to have, Joleen. And then it curated it for me. So
Wow.
what does this mean though for us in our local businesses? Like, what can we do with all of it? And I think the biggest takeaway is you should really, my advice, if I can like project on what I think everyone should do, is I think if you're not doing your Google well, if you have not set up your Google ecosystem, that is step one. Step one is making sure that your local Google business profile is set up. Here's a picture of mine. So we post
How do people find that?
your Google business profile.
Yeah.
So you can go to Google Maps. That's
Mhm.
the easiest way to get there, and type in your business name, and it'll come up in a right side panel, and you'll be able to see it there. But you need to claim your business first so that you can set it up.
Yeah.
And then post to your Google business profile every single week, just like it's another digital platform. And the reason that I believe this is important and that we have seen success with this strategy is that we are feeding the web crawler that helps bring people to our businesses. So set up your profile, post pictures, post events, make sure all the forms are filled in. And then if you don't have one, make sure you establish and figure out how you're going to do a Google review strategy. So you'll see here on mine, it says that I have, I don't know, is it 62 or 82? I work really, really hard on making sure I have a plan for Google reviews. And you'll see here I have a 4.9, and I actually had somebody leave a review who never stayed with us. And so I am now in that loop of working with Google to get it removed because they were never a guest here. But my point is that because I'm feeding the machine, I am establishing, who we are and what we are about, we are then more likely to come up in search. So I think nothing is more devaluing to our businesses than when people go to look for us in a web search and we come up and we look like we don't exist. So a really strong Google presence is one of the things I think that we can all do that isn't quite as complicated. So if you haven't set it up, I encourage you to do that first. And then what goes along with that, and the idea of that trend, is that we need to be looking at what we're going to do with our SEO. Let me get there. It's around here somewhere. SEO. Oh, there it is. So search engine optimization, right? A fancy marketing word, but all it really means is that you are training the web crawlers to know who you are and what you're about. So think of creating content that is not necessarily for your website visitors, but it is more for your website crawlers. Find your keywords, use your keywords, and then feed the machine so that you're coming up in local search. If you don't have any content, they're not going to be able to find you.
Yeah. So you guys just go in and go into Google Maps and type in Big Raven Farms or Big Raven Yoga.
Either one, Big Raven Farm, Big Raven Yoga, but you'll see how ours are set up. We have a stronger, and
what? Sometimes
John?
it's just to get it on the page.
Nope, sorry.
And then fix it after the fact.
You're listening to Renee. Come on now.
So SEO, right? So the idea is in the combination of using ChatGPT or similar and your SEO strategy is what we do is we feed ChatGPT what we would like to talk about. We put in our keywords, and then just like Robin's recommendation letter, it's just a place to start. I wouldn't encourage you to pick it up and paste it into your website. I think that's a mistake because the more you work with AI, the more you come to learn and see certain phrases that are very AI feeling. And you don't want to do that. You don't want to take away all of the humanity. You want to make sure that you're putting in your personal spin and flavor so that it sounds like you. But I think it works really well to unblock the writer's block and to just get us started. Because if I were to say to you, sit down and write one blog post a week, you would probably be overwhelmed by that because it feels like one term paper a week and it can feel overwhelming and intimidating. But instead, if you use some of the tools to help unlock that writer's block, it's a lot easier to edit and enhance than it is to start from scratch. And
Joleen,
so,
one of the things,
yes.
if I could just make a comment about that, one of the
Yeah.
things about using that, especially for social media, let's be real, most people don't read all of it.
Yeah.
So it's, don't micromanage it also. Don't spend a lot of time micromanaging it, especially if it's a blog post or if it's a
Mhm.
Instagram,
Caption.
little snippet, right?
Mhm.
You don't have to go. I think one of the problems, and I'm pointing to myself when I say this,
Sure.
is that I will then go, oh, that's not exactly right. Oh, that's not exactly right. Oh, that's not
Mhm.
exactly right. And then it never gets done.
Right.
And what I have found, and I have to tell you that I don't use it for my business at all because I'm teaching more full time.
Mhm.
But what I have found that when I need to get information out, it's easier just to look at it, make your minor adjustments, and then let it go. I think that's the biggest thing is we need to learn how to let some of it go instead of spending
Right.
so much time overthinking it, right?
Right. Well, so a couple of things about that, Robin. One is you're absolutely right. And then two, I think that because we live in a deluge of content, I think that, a trend happening here in 2025 is definitely the quality of our content. So, a few years ago, we might have been able to skate by with maybe a picture with a phrase or, like our content has to change to match consumer interest and patience. And so while using, some of the AI tools to help generate captions is definitely one way to get it done. The balance of that is to make sure that you are doing quality content. And again, I'm not saying that, every piece of content needs to be shot with 4 cameras and have, amazing transitions. I think it's the what you say and the value you provide is where we're really going to see a pivotal difference in the coming year because there's so much content that if it's not good, the question you should ask yourself is, why am I doing it then?
Yeah.
And with that also comes another thing that I'd like to talk about. And that is, it's not this, I'm going to take this down because I'm off my script. But anyway, what I think it's important to talk about in the coming year is that you should really measure open rates and effectiveness of the content you're creating. And here's an example. So we have a client who has been doing a newsletter for several years. And it's, typical, come to our website, sign up for our newsletter, you get them on the list, you send them the newsletter, and then they stay in this automation of the newsletter. And when we were digging in and looking at open rates, we found that there was like a 3% open rate on a newsletter that they had been spending hours creating. And it was a really great piece of content, but the eyes of their consumer just glassed over, like they were no longer seeing it and it hadn't been refreshed. So my point is if you are spending a lot of time on content that people aren't consuming, you need to stop doing that. Stop doing that and start doing something that can actually help you get more people to your website. So quality content, that's one. SEO, making sure your Google ecosystem is set up and ready to go. And then the other thing is we have to stop treating our websites like digital brochures. And what I mean is that if you're not going into your website, refreshing, making changes, adding content, well, if you're not looking at it, our web crawlers certainly aren't going to be looking at it. So you need to make sure that it is alive, right? That it is another living, breathing entity of your business. And those can be simple changes. Those can be updates. Those can be, adding content. It could be adding the blog post content that I was talking about for SEO, but making sure that it just is, you build it and forget it. We don't want to do that. We want to make sure that we're touching with it. So any questions about that quick ramble?
No, but everybody go open Google Maps and type in chief experts and leave me a nice review, would you please?
Yeah. Well, and Dan, that's exactly how. So the thing about Google reviews is what we've come up with in Big Raven Farm is we have a carrot and a stick approach. And the approach is this. My husband is a chef and an excellent one. And he makes amazing food when people come and stay here. And everybody is always asking for this recipe and that recipe and this recipe and that recipe. And it was getting way too hard for me to manage who wanted what. And so now what we do is we say, while they're here, that when you leave, we are going to be so happy to send you our digital cookbook. And if you could, in exchange for that, leave us a Google review, we would really appreciate it. And once we started doing that, my Google review strategy skyrocketed because I gave them something valuable that they looked forward to having, that they were grateful to have. And so they did me a solid. And in my instructions for the Google review too, or in the ask, I acknowledge that I realize this is a PIA. Like, I get it. You have to be logged into Google. You got to sit down and do it. Sometimes it doesn't take. Like, I understand, but I really appreciate it because it helps us, in this world of bringing more people through our doors. Yeah. And when Dan was saying know, like, and trust, this is another great example. People love buying from people, right? Like, we don't really care so much about buying from businesses. We want to be connected to people. Like, Dan is a great example. Dan's people who buy from him love him. And so they're loyal, and because he's established know, like, and trust. And I have a great example of that. Dan, you remember the day we were just goofing around on your Facebook Live? We were just like messing with buttons. And then all of a sudden, like 12 people were there. Like, hey, Dan, what are you going to talk about? I can't wait to hear it. We were just goofing off. So this idea of know, like, and trust, it also works its way into your Google reviews when we're talking about the advocacy of you as a business or people who become evangelists. I'm sure you have them in your business. I know Dan has them in his, I have them in mine. And those are people who are rooting for us, right? Yeah. Like, they had such a great experience that they are called to tell people about it. And if you don't ask for that Google review, you probably won't get it. And it's not that they're being mean. They should think of it.
I'm sorry, I'm going to jump in here real quick. In the past, it seemed like one of the reasons people didn't want to do that was maybe because they worked at home and they didn't want to put their business there because it was their home.
Right.
I think in this day and age, it doesn't matter at all anymore. I mean, if you look at mine, I work out of my house.
Yes.
So that's my business. That's what comes up on Google Maps. So don't worry about it. I'd say, claim your business, because if you want people to find you in your business, claim that. And whether it's your home or an office somewhere, it doesn't matter. In this day and age, just doesn't matter.
Well, exactly. And Google indexes by our phone numbers. And so, like, that's something to kind of keep in mind. If you use your mobile phone as your business phone and your personal phone, just know that, like, because phone numbers are so much more personal than addresses. And sometimes there's more than one business at an address. So Google indexes by phone number. So if you don't want to use your mobile phone, then it might be a good idea to get a Google number instead that can be associated with your number, and you can forward it to your mobile or whatever. But if there are workarounds for some of those kinds of concerns. So what other questions do you have for me?
So I do have a question. Why do I keep getting email from Google Workspace to pay for it? What's Google Workspace?
So the frustrating thing about Google is that all of its products are separate entities. So Google Maps is its own thing, Google Analytics is its own thing, Google Workspace is its own thing. And so the Google Workspace is kind of like a Microsoft Office suite. It's just a suite of tools that includes storage and all kinds of nonsense. And so because it's a separate entity, they're just trying to upsell you and they want you to buy more stuff.
So don't do it. Okay. Every time I look at it, I just go, yeah, I'm not interested, but I can't. What am I doing?
Please buy me.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
I can just ignore those.
Google needs more money.
Yep. Exactly. So I guess too, like if there's anything that I can, to recap my projection of what I think you should do. One, definitely make sure your Google environment is set up. Come up with a review strategy, especially in your lines of business where, I think it's important to think about how you are discovered. Do people go to the well of wisdom, Google, and type in their query and you want to be found? Is that a way that lead generation happens for you? And if it is, then having that ecosystem set up is definitely going to help. Do people find you on social? Well, if that's where people are finding you, then I think the strategy is to make sure that you're thinking about quality content and not just slapping something out there because you think you should. Like it has to be from your point of view, has to be authentic. And it doesn't need to be a Scorsese, right? You could turn on your phone and do the top 5 this or the top 5 that, or ways this will make your life better. But the point is that you have to provide quality content, something that changes people's lives in some kind of way. That is the real pivot point, I think, in having a good social media strategy. And then in the in-betweens, then you can do things just to remind folks that you exist. Think of it more like a brand awareness kind of initiative, but you have to pepper in quality content along with that brand awareness type stuff.
So, John, I'm looking at your Google My Business page.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Still got the old website from my Kajabi. You need to get that out of there. I would just suggest you do a lot of cool projects. John is a great designer with Chief Architect. All right, you guys, if you need help, call John. Every time you do a project, you should be posting a picture of a rendered view, and you do them anyway. Just take one and post it on Google My Business. Just do one of those every week, or every time you do a plan, post some pictures.
Is there a way, Joleen, is there a way, because all the work we do is through other designers and stuff, helping them. Is there a way to give credit to them at the same time?
Oh yeah, for sure.
That we posted.
So posting in your Google business profile is just like posting in any other social media platform. There's a place for a caption. There's a place to go further in depth about the content that you're posting there. I mean, we even post like Dan's live events and like things that are time bound. So you can use it just like any other space, and whatever you add for a caption, like credit to someone else, will definitely be there.
Okay.
So all you have to do to make that work, John, let's share on the right screen. Here we go. So this is what it looks like. All you got to do is go hit add photo, put a photo in here, and a little description, you're done.
Yep.
Just
And
do
you
that.
can square them up just like you would on social. So you could possibly use them in having more than one destination. You could put them there. You could put them, on your social profiles if that's what you do.
If
But you
you,
just want to make sure that you are in your Google Business platform.
so
if I
just,
put on there something like enjoyed working on this project with such and such design,
Yes.
yeah,
and would
yeah.
there be a link to their website and stuff too if I did?
So we link to events when events have reg pages. So I would imagine that you could do that inside of the caption. I don't
Okay.
know that I've done it that way, but I would think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So just experiment with it. Try it, you guys. So everybody on the call should be doing this. I mean, it's one of the best marketing tools you could do to expand your digital footprint. It's easy to do.
Well, and I think too, Dan, it is validating, right? Because it's almost like, in many of your cases, you are the product, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they are buying your specific set of skills and they are buying the opportunity to work with you.
Right.
When you are then vetted, right? So we go to Google, we vet the products and services that we're buying. If you don't appear, it's just a little notch in your credibility. And so I think that, it's so hard to get a good qualified lead that wants to work with us. Just taking this extra step in the validation of our awesome existence is a relatively easy thing in the scope of marketing plans that we can do.
Yeah.
And so that's another reason why I think it's really important is it lends credibility to who we are and what we do.
The big thing is just do something.
Right.
Just do something. Yeah. The big thing is do something with your social media at least once a week.
Consistency.
And be consistent.
Yes.
Or even if it's not once a week, even if it's just twice a month, as long as you're consistent with that. Right? Just doing
and
it.
Robin, the little asterisk behind that is that do something of quality. Do something that makes people's lives better. Like you have a tremendous wealth of knowledge and information. And the things that you know are beneficial to the rest of us. So I think we have to kind of stop overthinking what is quality content and rely on what you are a subject matter expert about and talk about that.
Yeah.
That is what's helpful. That is what's authentic.
Yeah, exactly. That makes sense. And you know what? Get over myself. And when I say that, I'm looking at myself. It's just get over myself. Just do it. Don't think about it so much. Just do it. Don't think about what other people think about it. I see things all the time from other designers out there and they'll post something and I just go, well, duh, but somebody out there doesn't know that. Somebody out there does not know that. And that's same thing with all of us, with everything we do. It's just, everybody knows that. It's like, no, the reality is not everybody knows that.
And what I hear you saying, Robin, is like you are not solving a problem for your contemporaries. You're solving a problem for your customers.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
And your customers don't know what you know, and that's why they come to you. And especially like in design, I have clients where like they provide such tremendous solutions. And one thing that we've discovered is that their homeowners don't always know how to articulate what they want or what they need.
Exactly.
And so one of our challenges has been, okay, so, you're a general contractor who also does, design, using chief architect. So how do we let people know that there are solutions for the kitchen of their dreams, right? How do we put that into language they can find? So maybe we turn that into, 7 kitchen trends that you might not have thought were possible that we can totally create for you. Mixers that go down in the thing and the drawers that close, all of those, a place to hide your broom, like all of those things that homeowners really want. We need to turn that into solution-based
part of that, part of it is we have to remember to think like a homeowner, because
Correct.
we're so used to just doing this every day. For us, it's all
Correct.
second nature, and like, oh yeah, make a little closet there, no big deal.
Mhm.
But people don't think of that stuff.
No.
You know, it's just like chief
Exactly.
architect. I always have to remind myself that, I started, I grew up with the program, so it was easy for me, but someone just getting into it now, they don't know what all those icons mean. They don't know all of this stuff. So I have
Right.
to remember, keep it simple, remember where they're, put myself in their shoes. So keep that in mind.
Yeah,
Um,
that's one of my things to get people to go with me instead of you, Dan, is I feel their pain. You don't feel their pain, Dan. You grew up with it, but I feel their pain.
you feel the pain.
Nice, John.
That was
I-
good, John. That was really
That
good.
That
I can
works.
like hear Dwight off to the screen going, burn.
That works. The pain. And yeah, no, I was just playing with some photo editing over Christmas, and I'm in Canva. I was on there trying to figure out how to edit pictures, and it's like, yeah, I felt the pain. So yeah, I get what you're saying, John.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
How do you do this? No.
Absolutely.
Well, and I
Well,
think
it's-
that, like the marketing word that like drops down from the sky in this conversation is just it's positioning. Remember your position, right? Like remember you are the subject matter expert. Remember that you have a wealth of knowledge and that you provide solutions that make people's lives better.
Yeah.
So are you saying
Exactly.
it, right? Are you presenting it?
Right.
I think that that's, a really great mindset as you think about, because I understand you're running your business, you're tending to your clients, and then, oh, by the way, I also need to focus on lead generation, getting more clients, and keeping my bench full and the pipeline going.
Yeah.
So I think with that too, another, kind of easy-ish marketing hack is it's month one is take that 30-foot view and set goals for the things you're going to do, 1 or 2 each month in marketing. And my example would be like if there's something that that always comes up at a particular time of year, is figuring out what that is, setting reminders, and being ahead of it. My best example here is we have customers who sell physical products and they weren't prepared for what they were going to say around Black Friday. They weren't prepared for what they were going to say for end of year. And so it like came up and it bit them because they just weren't prepared. And then, they came to us. But the idea is that if you take that 30-foot view looking at your year, then we're always working ahead. It's kind of like with the Total Immersion Summit for chief experts, is that we've been talking about that for 11 months, right? Or when it gets here, it'll be 11 months. And that's because we know our customer needs time to plan and prepare. And that's not one of those things that we want to come up and catch us and bite us.
Right.
The same is true for all of our businesses, is just taking that look, the view, and then setting some reminders and making those ideas of implementation attainable. Right.
I think another thing to keep in mind too is a lot of people are busy. And I've been doing a little research on the construction world,
Yeah.
and it's appearing that it's going to stay busy. That there's going to continue to be growth in the residential market for new homes and for remodeling. So people will continue to be busy. So this is a perfect opportunity for someone that's busy to enhance their digital footprint by taking care of some of the things that we're talking about.
Right.
There's no better time to market than when you don't need to.
Exactly.
So think of it as brand building instead of marketing, and, which they are the same really. But with that in mind, you build your brand, you build your awareness of people, you build that know, like, trust, and your projects will probably get better. You'll be able to charge more for them. You can increase your profits, all of that kind of good stuff will go with that. So, it's not just about finding leads, it's about building your brand.
Right. And Dan, also your community. Because one other thing that I think, put this on your bingo card for 2025 is that, okay, because of our saturation of content and the deluge coming at us all the time, consumers are now much more interested in the connection to the businesses that they choose to work with. So the best example I have is one of my favorite sets of clients, Avocet Design Build, Wilmington, South Carolina. Amazing designers and builders. Love these guys so much. One of their strategies has been to do something community-minded and focused once a quarter. And they invite their past clients to be a part of it, and their whole crew. They wear their Avocet Design Build t-shirts, and they are doing like the Plastic Oceans Project, where they're cleaning up, kind of garbage at waterways. They also cleaned up and did some painting and renovations at a preschool. Like, they do things where the community sees them out and about and they're invited in, or relief efforts, or Secret Santa, or, any one of these kinds of things. And then they even invited customers, clients, and crew to like a minor league baseball game, and they all wore Avocet Design Build shirts. So they're present in the community. And I think that, especially in local lead generation, if you are general contractors who also do design, this is critical, because it brings you out of the inaccessibility, and it removes the barrier between us and them, and it makes you one of them. It brings you so much closer to your potential customer and client. And they've created this community and this network, because in your line of work, referrals are a super big thing. And so just this network that they've created, it just perpetuates. And it's doing two things. It's being good humans, but it also is brand awareness. And the third thing is it gets them leads.
Yep.
Absolutely.
35-star reviews on Google My Business.
Mm-hmm.
So for those people who, so I teach at a local college, right? I teach an interior design program. And what I am noticing is that a lot of our students, they're young, and they are influencers, right? They're very aware of social media.
Yeah.
So two of my students just recently got jobs as they did an internship, but then they ended up getting a full-time position as a designer and doing their social media.
Sure.
So here's a way to resolve two issues that people have. Dan just said, the economy looks like we're going to be busy longer, right? So you still need somebody who could do CAD for you. You need somebody who can still go out and look for materials, or, do certain things that you need, but you don't need them full time. So a lot of these younger students who are leaving school are really involved in social media.
Yeah.
They know this stuff. So here's a way to get somebody in-house who knows your story, who can, do this for you but they're not full-time doing it, right? So you don't have somebody you could hire. So it's just an opportunity for people to think about different opportunities and ways to do it. So it's not on your plate. It's not on my plate. I can give this to somebody else. I do want to make a comment about Bill Murray. I have to tell you, House years ago was an amazing place for leads. In Portland, Oregon, it's a horrible place. Horrible place for leads, but it used to be amazing.
Yeah. So, Bill, that's a great question about House. I'm wildly conflicted about it, because I feel like it's become so much of a shopping center. And the way too that they have got their internal mechanisms that end up costing you money to be, put out in the feed. I feel like with House, what I've seen is the deterioration between the connection I was talking about. Like, you're so far from your consumer and your customer, because there are all of these layers that it feels like it's almost like they'd be surprised to call you and get a real person on the other end, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so
I wouldn't waste your money on it.
I wouldn't either, but I would also like, if it's worked for you in the past and you enjoy being there, I wouldn't sink a lot of money into it. If I had to choose, I would focus definitely more on Google and SEO.
Well, it's still a free version, don't they? House?
They do, but just like any free version, you don't get priority.
You won't get much. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you're posting pictures of projects at one site, do it there too. At least you're building your digital footprint to
Mhm.
some degree.
Mhm.
You know what though, Dan? I have to tell you, I would say I just Googled myself recently, and I have I probably have 50 images on 50 projects on House, and it did not come up at all. I mean, and I have like 3. You could Google me for a really long time. There's a lot about me on the internet, and that never once came up. I would say to you, Bill, I would focus more on your Google account. I would Google more on other things than House. It's kind of a mess. And what you'll end up getting is a lot of emails from people saying, what color was the tile you used on the backsplash? What kind of grout did you use? What was the paint color? Like and if you don't respond, then those things will, it'll push you down further. You have to keep responding on a regular basis to all those questions. So I will tell you, there are listen to Joleen and don't bother with House. And I'm only saying that from experience. Like, it's not like,
I do have kind of a funny anecdote about House. Again, a favorite client did really, really well in House. And we figured out it was because, I mean, the pictures were great, the projects were great. But one particular picture, there was a really cute dog in the picture. And so everyone, when it came across, it just got likes and likes and likes and, all the things. And it was like the number one most hit is because this really cute dog. So it didn't generate any leads, but it pushed him way up. Yeah, Steve, exactly that. Like, it's great success, and then it stopped.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When it was brand new, I was a House pro, and I can't tell you the amount of leads I got. I got killer leads when it first started, like amazing leads.
Yeah,
but
we broke it.
have not. It's like, move on. Go to other opportunities. Yeah. Oh, well, that's good. And I think it's really regional. Portland, Oregon, dead. Like, don't even consider it in my area at all. I've heard some people are doing okay with it, but again, I would still consider other options.
I do like the widget though, like the widget that connects like your reviews. I'm not sure if that is the paid version, but I'm glad to hear that it's like getting you leads. That's awesome. If it's working, then you're doing the things of making sure you're measuring it and that it's an effective use of your time. And if all those things are true, then keep going. If somebody were just starting now, I would say prioritize some of these other things. And then if you want to pepper in a House strategy, but I do like the review widget. That's cool.
How about LinkedIn, keeping your profile up to date and doing things there? Doesn't that always used to be one of the things, if you'd search for someone, that would always be on first page. Is that still the case?
Well, I think it goes with, one of the things I say all the time is making sure that you have your digital house in order. And what I mean is, if I find you on one channel or in one space, it's going to match what I find in another space. And so I think that, making sure that LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, House, like whatever, Facebook, whatever you're using, it has to be 1, on brand, 2, it has to be current, and 3, it needs to point people in the right direction. Because again, we're messing with your credibility if all of the wires are sending people in lots of different places. It's like, I want to trust you, right? I want to trust that when I find you, I find you. And so I would say, if you don't have a solid strategy on some of those social channels, at least every year do a quick audit and make sure that it's updated.
Yeah. So again, just go out and have some fun with marketing. I guess that's kind of the bottom line. It doesn't have to be,
do something, right?
Yeah.
Do something.
It doesn't have to be this big, ugly thing that, straps you down and beats you up. Go have fun with it. Go share good things with people. And that's marketing. And see what you could do with that. So,
well, and I think, Dan, to your point, it's all marketing. Like, you're always doing it. It's always brand awareness because, excuse me, you are the product.
Yeah. That's the old saying,
absolutely.
Marketing is everything and everything is marketing.
Yeah. Exactly.
Which is true. It's really true. I mean, job site cleanliness, that's marketing.
Right.
Market it. Make it people aware of it.
Mhm.
So why not? Because it's true. We have the cleanest job sites
Right.
in town. What about Angie?
Angie's
my.
List.
Angie's List. Is
Mhm.
Angie now?
Yeah. Yeah, Angie
I
now.
don't know.
I don't think I've ever talked to anybody that had a good thing to say about it.
Yeah, I
But-
don't have a lot of data on that one, I'm afraid.
Yeah, but people are using it. So I just say
Mhm.
be cautious. Don't sign into any big time agreements that's going to cost you a lot of money. If you can get into it and try it, great.
Mhm.
But I've heard a lot of horror stories about it. So maybe they've improved. You know, hard sell stories. That's basically what I've heard.
Mhm.
So, but I don't know anything about it either. So other resources by word of mouth in
Yeah.
real estate. You made
Doug,
your-
I totally agree. I think that, like, again, community connection and establishing relationships with real estate agents is so smart. So smart. Because, again, it might be that, like, they don't know. And I've even heard this lead generation idea where, you establish a relationship with a real estate agent who is selling homes that definitely need a renovation and an update. And then they can call you or bring you along on a showing and be like, boom, this is possible. And you've had an introduction and that lead is no longer cold, they're warm, right? At least you're not a stranger to them. And if
Yeah.
you have the
Absolutely.
flexibility to send somebody out, like I've heard that being an incredible like partnership and lead generation opportunity for folks like yourself.
Yeah.
You know,
I
the
agree.
other thing to don't forget about, and this has always been my focus, is don't forget your past clients. I believe in the theory of spending 80% of my clients on my referrals, and 80% of my marketing dollars on my previous clients. I would rather buy my client a great bottle of wine, past clients wine, or take them out to dinner, or send them a gift certificate for something if they were a great client, to keep my name in front of them, as opposed to spending all my money on what do they say is most people spend 80% of their marketing dollars on 20% of cold leads, and they spend 20% of their dollars on 80% of their solid leads. And you really should be putting your money. I have built an incredible client base by taking care of my previous clients,
Yeah.
and
Well, and
constantly
This
reaching out
this-
to them.
We're about done here, but Paul says never pay someone for lead. You don't have to do that, but at least appreciate them. A gift card to a restaurant, a bottle of wine, at least a thank you card.
I think he was talking about House and Angie and
Oh, that kind of lead. Yeah.
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 Well, and Robin, I'll just say that what you're describing is called relationship marketing. Relationship marketing is another strategy, and it's not like you want to like use people, but what you're saying is absolutely true. It is like so much more expensive to go out and get new leads and new clients than it is to nurture, tend, and take care of the ones that you've already had, because we've already established know, like, and trust.
Right.
So making sure
Exactly.
that you are staying connected with them, engaging, nurturing is a really great like business strategy. And I mean, that's good human being stuff too. So you're onto something there, but it's one of those things where you have to take care of it and nurture it. And you can't just do it 5 years later. Like you have to,
No.
keep that, in the loop of the things that you do.
So
You have to
last
keep
one,
up on
Doug's got, after the fact projects. I'm gonna start something.
word of
Oh,
mouth
yeah.
by law enforcement officers.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I've gotten a lot
get
of
'em,
clients from my attorney, because he's like, I'm dealing with this contractor, Robin, and this project is really bad. You need to get in
Oh.
there.
Anyway.
Get him
All
how
right.
you can get him, I say.
Anyway, we got to go, you guys.
Okay.
Happy
Jolene,
New Year.
thank you for
Happy
being
New Year
on.
to everybody.
Happy New Year,
Appreciate
my
it.
pleasure.
Everybody take care. We'll see you next time. Bye
All
now.
right.
Yep.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Bye.